All praise is due to the Most High. What's up, family? Next, I want to say rest in peace to a very good brother, Darren Seal. He was taken away from us very tragically. But it's never going to stop because we know why we're here. We're here under punishment, and it was written. So, moving on. It's Brother Yash, with being the idolater that he is, wants to keep pushing the word king out his mouth about this brother, because the other idolaters call him king. You know, Darren Seal didn't call himself king. He didn't come out and say, my name is King Darren Seal. You know, they called him king. You know, let them do what they do. You know, you be yourself. You don't follow. You understand? Not when you're a man of the Most High. But yeah, that's what he did. And then he gave you some cockamamie story on how this man died. I saw the same exact video 3 days ago. You know, this is old news, okay? This made national news. We will never know the real story on how this man died. You understand? We know he got shot. We know they murdered to a crisp. Yes. We saw the video where him and his little brother, along with two other witnesses in the parking lot, and they came up to him, said what they said, you know, put his little brother on the ground with guns drawn, then pulled him out second. Yeah, we saw the same video 3 days ago, okay? It's unfortunate news, but it's old news. But stop trying to, I know how you go into your room and Frederick becomes Yash, and you get to thinking, oh my God, this had to be someone close to him, had to be somebody he know. No, it didn't. Could have been law enforcement, man. The thing is, you don't know. I don't know. We don't know. Only thing we know is it's a damn shame. And stop saying, you know, what people do and what they don't do. You don't know what people such as myself or the other young men who are coming at you do. You don't know what they do. You don't know who they speak on. You don't know if they speak on the presidential candidates. You don't know what they do because you don't even know who you're looking for. You don't know where to look. It's a damn shame you're from the same city as that man, and you're just putting this out here a couple hours ago, and this happened 3 days ago. You know? I mean, I know those kitchens can get busy, but goddamn, you got 15 minutes, you know? But, yeah, man, you need to stop that. You know, stop making up shit. Saying, oh, it was this, it was that. And for the record, Pimp C died of lean, okay? Promethazine with codeine, okay? The man drunk it all day. I mean, that's what they do. They drink lean in Houston. That's what they do. That's their drug of choice. They drink it faithfully. People die from it all the time. Did not, what's the fat guy named Rick Ross fall out, have a seizure, almost died from it. Lil Wayne almost died twice, still drinking the shit. If he don't stop, that's what's going to happen. People die from that shit every day. That's just not cool. Painkillers and codeine, and they take a couple painkillers and a couple Jolly Ranchers and put it in the cup, mix it all up with the lean and the Sprite, and boy, they good to go. They got their purple drink, you know. Yeah, and they high, you know, and it's very addictive, you know. Basically, it's poor man's heroin is what it is. And, yeah, he wasn't killed, man. Come on, we all know that. So stop it with your fake-ass facts, okay? But that there is uncalled for. When you sit there and make up shit when you don't know any facts, that's not cool, man. And that's what you did there in that situation. You sat there and made up facts on how this man was killed, and you don't know. And then you sit there and want to call him king. The only king I know is the King of Kings, which is the Heavenly Father who created heaven and earth, and his son who died for our sins. That's the only kings I know, you know. I don't know a king walking this earth, I'm sorry. Not even the King of England or whatever, wherever they have those things or whatever it is. So I can't come out my mouth and call another man a king because he's not my king. maybe your king, but he's not my king. But it's very unfortunate. That brother was very smart, very brave, very outspoken. He definitely was a leader, and he will be missed. Let's not forget that. More people need to step up in his place and continue where he left off, because what he was doing was absolutely needed in this date and time. So yeah, that's why I just said, y'all shut the fuck up, man. This is how it's done, okay? No need for all the antics and shit, and you're late at that. So just go ahead, man. But anyway, like my last show, when I said, people need to get out, get their kids out. It's not a punishment to put your child outside. You got to get outside too. You got to get in at least an hour of some kind of cardio, doing something, fam. So you can get to the mountains. And I told you I was going to start touching on some things, from time to time and from here and there on what you needed to take, and I meant that, so I'm going to hit you off with a couple of things that may help you out. First of all, you need a nice set of binoculars, it's good to see, where you're going a little further than the eyes can see. When you're going to want to get something that's going to last, instead of putting money in some bullshit day trading, you see, you only gain a 2% profit on this thing. This is the things that they don't tell you, okay? You need money to make money in that. So, I want to start you out with $500, start you out with $100. You need, at 2%, you need $6,000 to make $120 profit, fam. Do you understand that? That's the type of dealings you're dealing with here. And you can also lose your $6,000 too, But that's the type of odds you're gambling with this bullshit here, okay? And you lose most of your profits, 35% of your profits, through commissions, which will probably be more because Yash got to get his piece too, So dealing with this dude, man, this dude is totally useless, okay? He should be telling you things you need to do with your money, and instead of throwing away on shit like that, okay? But like I said, you need a nice set of binoculars, fam. It's good to be able to see who can see you and who can't. And if you really want to step it up, get some night vision joints. Yes, that right there will be off the hook. But something you're really going to need is paracords. If you don't know what paracords are, that's P-A-R-R-A, paracords. And you're going to need a lot of them. You're going to be on the run out there in these woods, fam. You're not going to be able to set up shop and stay very long most of the time, because this country's going to be at war. And they're going to have those mechanical dogs as well as drones. That's what they're making them for. They're not sending troops up there. They're going to have those things coming up in there. And, you're going to have to move, So you're going to have to know how to set up shelters, something that you can put up quite quickly with a tarp and paracords and take down, fold up, and move on. Excuse me. And paracords are very, very needed. You're going to want to get 100 foot of rope. You're going to need ropes because there's going to be times you need to climb, and you're going to use the rope for so many different things. And they make real strong rope that's very, very thin and lightweight that you can carry on the outside of your knapsack. And that right there will do you real well. You're going to need to wear wool socks, family. None of that polyester, none of them white tube socks. None of that's going to work, fam. You're going to need wool socks, okay? When it comes to machetes, I've really did my research, and the absolute best machete, in my opinion, and from what I've saw through the tests and everything, and you can see the test of this on YouTube. Type it in. They got plenty tests on this machete going up against a lot of the top machetes, and that's the Ontario SP53. That's the model. It's made by Ontario, and it's the SP53. SP53. That's Ontario Light, Canada. Yes, SP53 machete. That is a bad mamma jamma when it comes to the blades. Not too big, not too small. Very, very strong. You definitely can chop down trees with it. You can do anything with it. That's just bad. Okay. You're gonna need ferro rods. Okay. I told you guys about the Kaden filter. You're gonna need water. Now you need fire, and you need ferro rods. I got 10 of them so far, and I plan on buying at least 10 more. One ferro rod can last you through the winter. So you figure you probably need 2 to 3 ferro rods, as long as you don't lose any, to last you for a year. I have 10, like I said, and I'm probably gonna have more because it's like putting a pencil in your bag. It's the same size. It doesn't take up any room or anything like that. You're gonna need blade sharpener. Because you're gonna be out there chopping. If you think you ain't gonna be chopping, then you got another thing coming. And while you're chopping, you're gonna have to sharpen that blade. You don't necessarily want to use no rocks to sharpen that blade. And get yourself an edible wild plants chart, okay, and a pocket survival guide. These things are very small, and if you can laminate it, laminate what you can. You know what I'm saying? Because that's very well needed. Okay. You're gonna need to get yourself some a wind-up flashlight. Okay, because batteries are not going to be around. They're just not. You can get yourself a solar flashlight, but I think the wind-up flashlight, because you get the electricity through the friction and everything. I think that's more sustainable to what you're going to be going through. You won't damage that. When it gets wet or anything like that. Take yourself some clear trash bags. You're going to need those. You can use that to collect rain. There's so many uses. See, everything that you want to take needs to be able to be used in more than one way. You don't want to take anything that can only be used for one thing and then that's just it. Because then that's taking up space. Okay? That's taking up weight, and it's just not worth it. You're going to need something that's going to really be able to have more than one use to it, because that's what's needed. You need to really be on point and go out and practice with these things also, because don't think just because you got a ferro rod, hey, if you don't know how to use it, it's useless, right? You're not going to know how to start that fire, and just watching people on YouTube do these things and you're not doing them, that's not gonna cut it. Even if you just go out in your backyard, man. Once you get a ferro rod, they cost anywhere from $3 to $5 at the most. Even if you just go in your backyard, man, and start a couple fires, that's good. At least you know how to do it. With the scrummage up, put together and create your little nest and start your fire. This here is a 2-part video, fam. So check out part 2, and I'll be right back with you with some more supplies and things that you need to really start focusing on and instead of the nonsense. One love.